What is going on, guys? It is Lely2SXE and this is my thoughts on the PES 2016 demo. The gameplay you're seeing right now is on Superstar difficulty and it's played in the rain. So I'm going to start off with a positive straight off the bat, and if you watched me on Twitch or my YouTube channel going through PES 2015, you will know what I'm about to say means a big deal to me, because the chances are I'll end up getting Benteke again or someone of that nature. It's so easy to just look at it and say, oh, the collisions look a lot better, so now they are better. Now, the one thing that really matters in this one is they actually make sense. So before in PES 2015, I remember when I was bearing down on goal with Benteke, Modric was behind him, he somehow caught up to him, and not only just caught up to him, he then shrugged him off, and I thought, that just does not make sense. Benteke is so much more stronger than he is, and it just didn't make sense. So the one thing I'm really glad about in PES 2016 so far is that nearly all the battles that I've come up against on the floor or in the air, they all actually make sense. And the one good thing I like about the battles in the air as well isn't just about, oh, I've got Benteke, I'm going to win all these headers. Nah, it's mixed with the user ability. So I've got to position my player in the best position so he wins them headers. And it's not just about winning the headers anymore either. You can actually not just position yourself. Say you know you're not going to win this header, you're thinking, right, I'm just going to do everything in my power to put him off that header and make his header just be as bad as it can be. The collision system also seems to have a positive effect on the referees, because I see myself feeling less hard done by than I ever have before. So, you know, I think the collision system has done great for that, and I think also the referees making a lot of good decisions isn't just based on the collision system. I think the fact that the defenders now have a lot more animations and a lot more possibilities in terms of where you can tackle from, so you can tackle from all sorts of different angles without having to slide tackle as well. Put that in mind, because you can double tap X on the side and they'll put in an appropriate foot, where before they will lunge in with the same animation over and over again with that massively like outstretched lunge, when you're thinking sometimes I don't even need to stretch that far, so you're overstretching. Now the players seem to actually look where the ball is and they seem to put out just enough of a foot to put in a challenge, or sometimes just actually put in a recovery challenge, so they'll win the, like, not just win the tackle, but they'll actually keep the ball as well. So I think they've definitely increased the amount of ways you can win the ball in terms of the animations, and that has a good impact on the refereeing decisions as well. So while we're on the topic of defending, let's move on to the defensive AI, because there's a brilliant example coming up right now. I want you to keep your eye on Marcelo in this next attack, and this is something we would do as users. We sense the danger a lot earlier than other people normally do, or especially the computer. And you see Marcelo there run on past the goalkeeper, cover the line, and at the time I didn't even realise he did it. When the guy lobbed my goalkeeper, I thought, shit, this is a goal. And then as soon as Marcelo came into frame, I felt really comfortable. I was like, oh, well, thank you, Marcelo. I was like really relieved. I was like, I didn't even sense that one, but he did. Like, I know I did sense the lob coming, but I didn't think I could recover it because I thought I was too far out. Marcelo was already there, recovered for me, and you know, I thought that's just a big step in defensive AI in terms of intelligence, sensing the danger. Not because I know they showed other trailers where they showed players attacking space, but they didn't show defenders like covering dangerous areas, and that was a really good example of it there. I also found out that they're much better at intercepting than they ever were in PES 2015, and that could also be put down to the much improved response times, which I will come on to, because that is a massive thing, the response times, in terms of not just defending but attacking as well. But I'll come back onto the response times in a moment. But how do you lot feel about this goal that's about to come up right now? For me, people were talking about overpowered R2 shooting. Now there's this goal that you're about to see right now, and then there's another clip coming up. It's hard to say if that's overpowered R2 shooting, because that one there I didn't feel was the best R2 shot, or finesse shot as a lot of you call it as well. That one felt like the goalkeeper should have done a lot better, especially when you see some of the saves that he makes later. And then this one, he curls it around the play, so that one I have a bit more sympathy for the goalkeepers. But then there's so many other times where the shot doesn't go on target, and it's hard to call it overpowered when you play as much as I have and you see how many of them go wide or the keeper saves. But when they do go in, they feel like the goalkeeper should do better. So I don't know if overpowered is the right term, but I definitely feel that they need working on when it comes to these finesse shots from distance. So let's get back onto these response times. And the one thing they've done in PES 16 is they've made the game gel a lot better. So let me give you an example. From PES 15, you'd hit the ball out wide to one of your wingers, and your winger has slightly run ahead of it, or the ball's been played in behind him. That's probably a better way to say it. And instead of them turning around to receive the ball, they wouldn't respond quick enough to, turn around and stick a foot out. So what they would do is they'd stop and look brain dead. But now, because the response times have been improved a lot, they seem to turn around and retrieve the ball from behind them. Or not just that, but if passes get ricocheted off someone and it falls to, so say for example I'm at right back, a player passed towards my centre mid, it hits the opposition player and it bounces towards my centre back who's a lot closer to it. Back in PES 15 it'd still lock onto my centre mid and he'd chase it back even though he's a lot further from the ball than my centre back. But now in PES 16 it'd switch to my centre back and he'd go for the ball, so it judges who's closer to the ball a lot quicker, and that sort of thing, where it seems a lot more contextual now. Before it wasn't that it wasn't contextual, it was just that the response times were that bad that things didn't make sense. Now, because the response times are that improved, everything seems to make a lot more sense. So that is one big thing I think a lot of people are overlooking. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's perfect, but 9 times out of 10 everything seems to make sense, and that's mostly to do with the improved response times. So let's move on to the passing, and that is something I had a real gripe with after a while in PES 2015, because especially with the through balls, they would play the pass in a way where you'd think, how is that even possible to even attempt that? You picture something totally different in your head. You think, right, I'm going to play a through ball here, it's going to go on the inside of the defender and curl away from the striker so they can run onto it, but the player would try to attempt a pass around the outside, and you're thinking there is no way he's going to reach it on the other end. It's not even possible. So I don't know why they attempt them passes. But in PES 2016, you don't have them issues. I don't seem to have them issues anyway. I play on Pass Support 1, by the way. So I find it a lot more that whatever I envision seems to happen a lot more than it did in PES 2015. And also the passing is a lot smarter in this as well, I noticed. Because when I play a pass, especially with a good passer of the ball, and someone comes in with a standing tackle, what they'll do is they lift the ball up, a grounded pass this is, by the way, they lift the ball up to about kneecap height so it avoids any standing tackles. If someone comes in with a sliding tackle, they normally take it out then if they read the pass, in advance. But if they put in a standing tackle and they're close to the passer will normally add a bit of height so it avoids the standing tackle. So let's move on to the goalkeepers, and this is an area which I'm pretty surprised in, because I didn't think they'd put this much attention into it, because I thought they were really good in PES 15. So for them to take it another step further just shows their commitment on making good things better. So the only gripe I have with the goalkeeping from this demo is the fact that I think every goalkeeper can throw to the halfway line easily, and it just doesn't feel natural, some of the throws. So I think, obviously, I expect Neuer to be able to, because I think his distribution and De Gea's and goalkeepers like that are actually known for good distribution, they should be able to do it. But I think some of these goalkeepers here are not known for their distribution, but it seems to be a bit too good for what it is, for what they are. So I think that needs to be addressed. But other than that, I think the goalkeeping is pretty good. It does look a lot more natural. They do like a lot of double saves, or they make a save and then they pounce on the rebound to hold on to it. So it's not just about double saves, but it's about they can parry it and then get to the loose ball, where they weren't as effective in the last PES in that term. So now I'm going to move on to something which I was a bit skeptical about at first, because I wasn't sure how well it'd be implemented. But now that the rain and the water on the pitch has an effect on the ball, and not just the ball, it actually has an effect on the players as well. So in this match you'll see players slipping and sliding a lot more than you would on a dry match, and that's normally to do with a quick change of direction or getting tricked by an opponent. So that's something which I'm pleasantly surprised with, because it has the impact, but it's not a brutal impact. It's a nice subtle impact, and other than saying it actually looks pretty decent as well, there's not much else you can say about the weather. So moving on to something which I had a real issue with, and I think 99% of other people had issues with, was the stamina system in PES 2015. Now what I've noticed in PES 2016 is, I think it's actually based on not just your position, obviously players' stats, and I think it's the amount of intensity. I think I'm not 100% sure on how intense someone plays. So I noticed that when I played Neymar on the right wing, I played him on the left wing, I noticed that his stamina at the end of the match was down to about, just say 10%, but when I played him in the middle, he had about 30% stamina left. So obviously I know you cover a lot more ground on the wings, but I don't know if it's because I was holding sprint a lot more as well that his stamina was going down quicker. So that's something I might have to experiment with still, but at least now I know the stamina is more manageable, and the fact that it actually goes the full distance of a match, because in PES 15 it was terrible. No matter who you had, you could have 11 Vidals all over the pitch and all their staminas would be gone by the 85th minute, and that's someone with great stamina. So someone that doesn't have great stamina, they were gone by the 60th minute, which was a joke, because when you had bad stamina in that game, players were fatigued and then they played terrible. They were like laggy and all that sort of crap. At least now the stamina seems like it's a lot better, and it actually seems more manageable as well. So I'm glad that the stamina system's gone in this direction. So going on to the shooting, and for me, I'm not saying it's bad, but it just doesn't give me that same satisfaction as I do get from the dribbling and the passing and all that sort of stuff. I feel there's a bit more to come from the shooting before I feel fully satisfied with it. I'm not saying it's bad, it's good. It doesn't feel like it's on the rails. It does feel like there's freedom in it. I just can't point my finger on it, but I don't get that same satisfaction from shooting than I do when I get my passing and dribbling. I don't know, even defending, I'm getting some real satisfaction from defending. So guys, here's an example of me having to reposition myself for the header. Look at Luis Gustavo here. I have to take a step back right at the end to make sure I win that header, and then because I positioned myself pretty badly to start with, I could only really header it behind me, so that's what I was left to do. But that's what I mean, it takes a little while getting used to that heading system, or positioning system, but it is a good system, and I can see quite a few nubs getting caught out with that. So guys, yeah, overall on the demo, I'm pretty happy with it now. There's still work to be done from this demo, but I'm pretty happy with the game, and I can see the direction it's going. And like I said, Willian there should have stopped that ball getting to Schneiderlin before he even had the shot. So you'll see the odd thing happen wrong, and 9 times out of 10 he would have probably cut that out. So like I said, the game isn't perfect. They still have a few little issues here and there, but on the whole I am happy. What have you guys thought of the demo since you've played? What are your issues? I'm not going to say I'm bang on right. There might be issues that have popped up for you that haven't popped up for me yet, and there might be some issues that pop up after I've spent another 10 hours playing this demo. So guys, let me know what you guys think of this demo that I've played it. Let me know what you think of what I've thought about it. If you've not thought about certain things I've thought about, let me know in the comment section. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys, and thanks for watching this video guys. Catch you later.